You're the head of product at an established B2B company and you're looking at implementing continuous discovery, but you're concerned that your teams won't be able to find enough of the right customers to involve in their research. What do you do to alleviate that concern?
Yeah, this is a great question. This is a little bit, we touched on this a little bit earlier with this idea of automating the recruiting process. So first of all, when I'm coaching teams, the first thing I tell them is do anything you can this week to talk to a customer. I don't care if it's sustainable, you can be scrappy, just go hustle and find a customer to talk to this week. So if you've never talked to a customer, do not worry about process. Just go find somebody to talk to because your first conversation is going to provide immense value. From there, you want to start to think about, okay, now I want to do this every week. How do I start to make it more sustainable? It's going to depend wildly on who your customers are, right? So if we're talking about B2B, if you're Slack and you have thousands, tens or hundreds of thousands of customers, you don't have to think about process very much. All of your product teams could probably reach out to whoever they want and there's going to be very little overlap. That's great. That's an easy scenario. I worked with a company where they sold to US movie studios. There were 6 companies in their total addressable market, right? They had to coordinate about who they were reaching out to and when. And that's where, we see like the rise of product ops and design ops in companies. That's where having somebody solve this problem for all of your product teams can be really helpful. How are we going to recruit customers in a way that allows every single one of our teams to talk to a customer every week? And there's a lot of ways to do this. I cover 3 of the most common ones in my book. You can recruit people while they're using your product. You can use your customer-facing teams to help you recruit. So you can have your account managers or your support teams. You can give them triggers. Like if you encounter a customer that has this problem, schedule an interview with us. And then in the really hard to reach customer scenarios, I encourage people to set up long-term relationships with customers through like a customer advisory panel, but to actually interview them one-on-one. So don't treat it like a focus group. Just have a requirement of being on that advisory board, be that they participate in one-on-one interviews.
And what's important about not treating them as a focus group?
It's fairly easy to teach a product team how to interview well. It's much harder to teach them how to run a focus group well. I know people that get PhDs in market research that struggle to learn how to run a focus group well. It's really hard to not, with focus groups, we're bringing in all the group dynamics, right? So the first person to respond is going to influence the direction of the entire rest of the group. And it takes a really skilled facilitator to collect reliable feedback in a focus group. It does take a skilled interviewer to collect reliable feedback in an interview, but the skill the ability to develop that skill is a lot simpler. So it's easy to teach a product team how to interview well. It's a lot harder to teach them how to run a focus group well.
And I also suspect it's easier to get single people in a room to interview than it is to convene groups on a regular cadence.
Yeah.
So you can build that muscle much quicker than you can with groups.